You don't have smaller sotong, ah?
Oh, today all
All big. Satay. 按错的青沙面啊。
老闆有什麼？
kilo 半仔，啊，一杯嗬。We're going to Geylang Serai. I'm just going to buy a few things. But again, Geylang Serai I go to because it's also the surprise that I look for. If you look around, this is the only Chinese coffee place. But it's not just the coffee, it's the Hainan Kaya Toast. It's kiam tao roti.
Is this your regular breakfast spread?
No, this is not my regular breakfast spread. This is just for the viewers. I wanted to introduce some stalls, but I think more importantly, some dishes that are not available in all the hawker centers. There may be about 1 or 2, maybe 3 Malay stalls around Singapore that do laksa siglap. And it's really interesting because the noodles are almost like udon and the gravy is really yummy. So it's kind of like a Malay style laksa. Very similar, I think, to the laksam that you get in Malaysia. And then this is a dish that has Middle Eastern origins. This is the variation that after it traveled many, many years, it has its own local spin. Instead of full madame, they call it kacang full, which is basically beans that's cooked in some herbs and gravy, and it's eaten with Cham tao roti. Yeah. I never was into cooking. Cooking was child labor. So it's basically doing the prep when granddad wanted to cook, right? So we went into the kitchen to assist. It wasn't something that I wanted to do. Good morning.
Good morning.
But as time went on, I realized that there were dishes that were there that only my grandfather knew how to cook. Because a lot of the dishes were very complex. And I felt that if I didn't learn some of these dishes, I will never be able to eat it over again. Yes, I did say it's child labor. As a 9 or 10-year-old boy, right, what's the most important thing?
Play.
Exactly, play. So that's when I asked my grandfather, look, can I learn? And he said, I tell you what, you watch me for a month, and if you really are interested after a month, I will teach you. I watch and I remember. It has taught me some discipline. That when you do something, you do it right once. So granddad would take the dish and he'd throw it away and he said, start again. He wouldn't get angry. He knows that it doesn't make any sense to get angry. You know, I think that's why, right, today, right, when I cook a nasi ulam, I don't think there's anybody in the kitchen, in my kitchen, that can slice the herbs as finely as I do. After you deep fry, you fry first, then you put on top. Sotong can because I steam. Yeah, once you fry, the thing overcooked already.
Very hot, not very nice.
Spicy, not really, right?
No, okay. Spicy then correct, yeah.
Not spicy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I can do this more often, but I'm feeling good. I am. I'm very relaxed. As a chef, right, initially when I first started, I didn't really, want to go out and say hello to people. I'm like, my work is in the kitchen. Of course, I love to be among my friends. I love to do things together with people, but I also like to be alone. I don't know, perhaps maybe that's the reason why I'm not that a good parent. You know, I used to fly 6 months, 7 months in a year. It's good for the business, but it's bad for relationships. You know, when I turned 40, I was really, really scared. I had a failed business, I had a failed marriage, right? And you know, all that hard work that you put in, right, it just went down the drain. I sat down and I spoke to myself, you know, and I said, 40 years of your life went by in a flash. Where are you now? I was nowhere. Really, I was nowhere. And I told myself, I have to do something that I truly love, not for the money. And the only thing that I could think of, right, was to cook. So this was me going away to actually learn and find myself. During that time, right, I felt that European food was what people wanted to eat. And I thought that was the best thing to do. I tell you a story. There was a lady that used to come to my first, well, not my first, my second restaurant, Soul Kitchen. She used to come quite often, twice, sometimes 3 times a month. And I didn't see her for a long time. And her husband came one day and she said, "What's your wife?" She says, "She's got cancer." I said, "Why do you ask her to come? You know, come, you know, tell her, I know what she likes to eat, I'll cook." Then he went back and he came back. He says, "Damian, she cannot eat anymore. But she says that if you can, you cook this one dish for her." So I says, "Okay, just ask her to come." You know, she sat down with her husband. I gave only 4 dishes. She ate so much, you know. And I was like, "Hey, I'm sorry if I did anything wrong," because I saw her crying. She says, "No, Damian, she's crying because she was so happy." She says, "You brought her back to a time when she was a little girl." That means a lot to me. It really does. My vision of the perfect dish is to feed someone the dish and see tears, right? Why tears? Because tears is something that brings you back to a time when you had a sad or happy memory. It could be tears of joy, it could be tears of bitterness, that it reminds you of someone that you dearly love that's gone. Although I changed from cooking European food to Singapore cuisine, I think that change was very natural. It was me asking myself, is this what you want to do for the rest of your life? And then I says, no, I wanna preserve Singapore's heritage. You know, the food that I've eaten ever since I was young. This is a dish all of you have not had before. It's actually peranakan. It's called ayam goreng. Yeah, exactly. But you know how the peranakans are, right? It's a very deceiving dish. The gravy is the sauce. I am mad. I'm a little bit mad because to do what I do, you need to be mad. A little bit. You know, passion is not enough. You have to have a little bit of madness in you. I think I'm very fortunate to be able to grow up eating food that was cooked by an exceptional cook. My grandfather was not a chef. My grandfather worked in the high courts and he cooked during the weekends or during celebrations. I like what my grandfather does and it has rubbed off on me.